Now, can you talk me through some of these notable trends that are listed in the index? Now, some of them that were listed were trafficking for sexual exploitation, women on both sides, and murky waters. Now, the one that interested me the most was women on both sides. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, sure. Well, when we're looking at women, in no other crime that we see really specifically are women both victims and also perpetrators of the crime itself, and we actually see human trafficking. What we often see is that women play an important role in recruitment of victims, and this can be also again for a host of reasons. They may themselves have actually been victims of trafficking at some stage, specifically in sexual exploitation, commercial sexual exploitation, where over the years they've actually managed to survive and work their way up through the industry itself, and they become what's known as second wave recruiting, where they go back into their home communities and actually recruit other young women into this actual into prostitution. For a whole host range through fraud and deception, for example, promising jobs in restaurants or in other hotels and other areas. On the other hand, we also see women working as recruiters. And what's even more certain that came out in 2014 was that women as recruiters may actually also be sometimes their own parents of a victim. That we see here, specifically in terms of sexual exploitation, we've actually taken an active role not only in terms of facilitation, recruitment, facilitating control as a child or young adult, but really actually holding them and controlling them in that trafficking situation. In other circumstances, we do see that when women are recruited, it might be actually they actually go it's actually quite innocent. They might try to provide the child with a better life. So, for example, education opportunities in another city with relatives or friends who say that's an opportunity. They may actually facilitate and literally their own recruitment and trafficking of child, for example. But as I mentioned, in no other time do we see apply women being both victims and traffickers. And in some organized forms of trafficking rings, we actually suppose women actually get different trafficking rings where it comes to specifically where child trafficking is involved and illegal adoptions are involved. That we see that women actually play a more active role in trafficking.
Now this and some of the other situations you were describing earlier on in our conversation seem very scary. How do we move forward? How do we stop this? I mean, what are the next steps? It sounds like it's all so underground that we really just can't get to it.
On the one hand, yes, it's underground. On the other hand, it's not. Trafficking is linked to inequality. It's linked to discrimination. It's linked to various forms of exploitation. And these are all linked to very real things that we experience every single day in our lives. These are socioeconomic problems that we see. Relative poverty and differentiation, gender discrimination, and gender-based violence as well. These are all factors that lead to an environment in which human trafficking can actually flourish. We see various forms of exploitation taking place. Xenophobia is also one of those factors that we see complex as well. Very significant structural factors. So yes, the crime, the way it manifests itself, the way it takes place, like other forms of serious organized crime, is completely underground. But all those factors are leading out, creating this enabling environment, things that we grapple with every single day. So in order to try and combat human trafficking, we can't say that human trafficking exists in a vacuum by itself. It's linked to all these other factors that we see in the society, from patriarchy to gender-based violence, other forms of inequality and discrimination, and also as a business. In terms of demand and supply, it's linked to local and global economies. Specifically, if we're looking at forced labor, we can talk about, well, do we know what the supply chain is? Where are our products coming from? Where are our Nike shoes coming from? Or where is our chocolate coming from, for instance? Are the things, the clothes that we're wearing, has it been produced in a sweatshop where there's high levels of exploitation? As consumers, from one perspective, if we're looking at forced labor and labor exploitation, we can take an active role by actually demanding that the corporations, multiple corporations, become more responsible in their supply chain. We also need more transparency and oversight that we know where our products are coming from, how they're being produced, and under what conditions. So that's one point to consider what we can do. On the other hand, the more pervasive and also the more hidden forms of investment, specifically for sexual exploitation, forced marriage, for example, we need to actually look at ourselves from what are the cultural factors, what are the social, economic factors, what political factors are enabling it. But also, as us, we need to become more reflective. How do we deal with each other in society? So if we're trying to reduce human trafficking, we need to also reduce instances, for example, of rape, of very negative attitudes, women and children. We need to also reduce vulnerability that might be created through poverty, for example, through conflict. So we look at signs of questions. And if we start dealing with these basics in terms of reducing vulnerability, we need to also start combating all those other societal problems that we have that are real problems in South Africa at the moment. If we start actively focusing on that, we'll start by that slowly reducing vulnerability in our own country to trafficking. But whether we can stand it out together, that's another question in total. So it's really that nature in terms of us that we need to start reflecting, why do we exploit people in the first place? Why do we abuse other human beings? And that's a very, very long process in terms of that as a society that we see often that's very, very difficult because we often don't have empathy, we often don't sympathize with other people who might be using the system, who might be more vulnerable to subjugation. Specifically in terms of sexual exploitation, we often see double victimization. There's very little sympathy. In South Africa, for example, other societies which are highly patriarchal to victims of sexual violence, for example, they're often seen as being false as themselves. And changing these attitudes slowly, it will also help us try and combat this. And also in terms of understanding social context in which human trafficking takes place, so that we can start identifying more victims and